Hi and welcome. I'm super excited that you've tuned in today. I want to talk about something that's happening within the market that I find very valuable for me, and you will probably see that we're answering some questions that you're having about the market as well. I want to talk about interest rates. So there's a lot of noise around interest rates right now in the current state of the market as it's changing. So I want to establish a couple of things. First, I want to establish why rates are changing. And secondly, I want to establish how mortgage rates impact your ability to buy, but how they're also determined. Because I think sometimes we hear the noise within the media or we hear the headline and all of a sudden the rates are jumping and it creates panic and it creates fear. My perspective, when we're in drama, when we're in fear of the noise within the market, we are the furthest we can be away from making a logical or an educated strategic decision, because we're completely driven by emotion when we're in drama and noise and uncertainty. I want to help bring you back to certainty. Whether you're buying or selling, or it's even a consideration, I hope this creates certainty for you. So let's establish why the rates are moving. Well, demand was out of control and supply was not meeting it. So we were seeing prices jump at a drastic rate during the pandemic 2-year period. For the most part, we're back to normal living, normal business as normal. So as that happened, the Fed now has an inflation problem. So they're raising the federal funds rate in an effort to curtail and to suppress some of the demand by moving some of that demand off of the table, increasing the rate, trying to get the inflation numbers to settle back in instead of just have them run rampant, which makes sense. It would have been better, in my opinion, to not let it run as far as it did. However, it is what it is. And that's where we're at and what we need to be dealing with. So we've moved demand off the table. As rates settle, some of that demand will come back. I hear a lot of fear in buyers' voices when we talk about buying with the current rate. And so I wanted to establish a couple of facts with you. First and foremost, mortgage rates are based off of the 10-year Treasury bill. So anytime you want to know whether that's moving up or down, you can look at the 10-year Treasury bill and you'll know why rates are moving up and down. Most common people hear the Fed say the rates are going to go up 3/4 of a point, and then mortgage rates come down the next couple of days. And that's because the Treasury bill improved. So rates came down because that's what it's based off of. So you can always use that as a base. I want to establish that at the time that we produced this video, the rate on the 10-year Treasury bill had improved today by 4/100ths of a point. So it was getting better. So theoretically, interest rates should get a little bit better on mortgages theoretically today. Now, if that gets worsened tomorrow, rates are going to move accordingly. So your rate is always moving. So as we talk about interest rates, I want to share some information with you. So let's just take $100,000 of financed money, and maybe let's do this a little different. Let's go with $1,000 of financed money. 1,000. Let's just break it down to it's $1,000 that we finance. Now there's a lot of data in being able to search this in the market, and as you've watched in all of the videos that we've done, I've said have trusted advisors, work with the people that you know, like, and trust. So instead of just using internet data to support this, I talked to a local lender that I really have a great relationship with and I trust. And I asked about this. And I said, give me some numbers at a 5% rate and give me some numbers at a 7% rate. And I'm going to erase those here in a minute, but I want to give you perspective because everybody's got a lot of fear around this number, right? Everybody's fearful. We're going to go 7+. We might go to the 8s. What's going to happen in interest rates as I buy a home? And when we talk about affordability, well, there's a big difference between 5 and 7, 4 and 6. Now, it's not the same, obviously, as 2.5, and that's not a healthy rate for us to be able to sustain healthy inflation. So let's say this is where we settle in. So what's the difference? For every $1,000 financed, the difference or the delta between 5 and 7 is $1.29 per month. $1.29 per month on each of the $1,000 financed. So at $100,000, you're at $129 a month. So if you're looking at a home that's at $600 and you're looking at a home that's at $500, the difference is $129 per month. Now, I know there's some anxiety around this because it's the highest we've seen in multiple decades. For a lot of us that are under the age of 45, we've never seen this. We were too young when rates were high. We were in that late 70s, early 80s, mid 80s, late 80s. We didn't see this, right? They started to come down in the 90s and then they've stayed low and we've just enjoyed low interest rates. It's $129 a month. Now, from a professional standpoint, if buying a home, you can afford a payment at $129 more a month or not, you're probably buying a home that's stretching you too far financially, and we ought to be considering lowering the number of hundreds of thousands of dollars that we need to finance. So we're going to continue to see volatility in interest rates. But keep in mind that this is not as much fear-driven as it needs to be. The media is going to harp this. They're going to sell you the noise. This is not a bad thing. It changes your affordability, yes, and it changes the strategy, yes. Who are you working with? What are the professionals you have in your life to help you build and grow into what you want to have and what you want it to look like in your portfolio over time? You've got to have the right strategy partners. You've got to have the right strategy. This should not be the driving force. Let's look at affordability. Let's look at wealth creation. I'm going to add really quick. I'm going to deviate from what I was thinking. In all of this, when rates are lower than this, when they're lower than 5, let's say they were at 4. For the same home that you're worried about buying here, a year and a half ago during the pandemic, people were paying $50,000 more for the house. To put that into perspective, $50,000 more on a $300,000 home, paying $350,000 for a $300,000 home, you're paying almost 16-17% more for the house. So which hard do we want? Do we want to overpay? Or do we want to be able to afford, and then if rates drop, we refinance and we're in a more affordable position on the home that we love? Let's find what you love. Let's have the right strategy. This shouldn't be fear. If this is your fear, I want you to call me and let's have a conversation, because you need more certainty. You need somebody giving you good strategy and developing the right strategy for you. As always, it matters, and I look forward to talking to you. Thanks for being here today.